Hey you guys! What is up? It's episode 7 and oh my god, we have just been talking about the darkest shit. We've been talking about stitching up our pussies. We've been talking about men killing us, which, when is that not in our minds? We've been thinking about mommy killers. We've been talking about incels. So let's talk about something happy. I think it's time we have a refresh episode. Me and Sai are kind of sick of our minds being blown all week. So I really want to start talking about some happy things to make you happy. So we're going to talk about recent updates in the world, stories, happy videos, whatever. This should just make you happy to hear. And maybe it's stuff you wouldn't even think about looking up. So this is going to be a laid back video. This is really the FaceTime call that we've been calling for in this episode. So I wrote my notes on my notes app. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with electric cars. There are more electric cars on the road than in 2022. Ah! I don't have one though. I drive a Mustang. A lot more actually. In Norway, 80% of all cars sold are electric cars, and the trend is still spiking. 7.8 million electric cars were sold around the world in 2022, a year-on-year growth of 68%. We now live in a world where 1 in 10 cars sold are electric, and in China, it's 1 in 3. This is great news since this is the country with the largest carbon emissions. Yay! For the planet. Coal is dying out. Let's talk about it. Having the world full of electric vehicles won't help the environment, and the electricity in them is coming from dirty energy. Now, coal makes up less of our share of electric grids than ever before. The US just started its first year in history with renewable energy generating more power than coal. So, more than ever in 2023, humans are sun worshippers. So, solar panel manufacturers turned almost 295 gigawatts worth of solar panels in 2022, a 45% increase in capacity in 1 year. In 2023, this is 319 gigawatts. The projection for 2025 says that year we'll see 940 gigawatts worth of panels built, or roughly as much solar power as exists in the entire world right now. I'm so happy. So, this is our cheapest energy source at 33% cheaper than natural gas in the US, and will only get cheaper as the IRA's solar installation incentives kick in this year. It's cheaper in China too, where nearly half of the world's solar panels were installed last year. Remember that time that humanity almost killed Earth's main layer of protection against UV radiation? I wasn't a part of that, maybe you were. But a UN report released this month says that we can pat ourselves on the back. Our efforts to heal the ozone layer by banning dangerous CFC gases in a 1987 treaty actually worked. The hole we punched in that layer is on course to completely heal over by mid-century. Slay. So, now let's talk about the bees. In January, the European Union's highest court banned all exemptions to an EU regulation outlawing 3 popular pesticides, all of which are lethal to honeybees, and were implicated in colony collapse disorder. That's on top of the new regulations that just began, banning all but trace amounts of bee-killing pesticide residue in food or feed imported in Europe. And no more Russian fuel. European countries were terrified of hooking the Russian bear because of their dependence on cheap Russian natural gases and oil. But Russia's energy exports have fallen by a stunning 9% in the last month. Losers. Ever since the EU banned crude oil imports, the US is now poised to become Europe's largest gas supplier. Vaccines are slaying. Despite what you might have heard from the vaccine denier, Musk, on Twitter, the COVID-19 vaccines are still doing what vaccines always do: save lives and slay lives. Okay. So a recent study from the Yale School of Public Health concluded that the US would have suffered 3 million more deaths without vaccines in 2021 and 2022. By that measure, January 2023 would have contained somewhere around 125,000 more deaths in a vaccine-less world. Moreover, there's a growing body of evidence that vaccines may significantly reduce the risk of long COVID, especially if you get another shot after you're sick. The air is getting cleaner! In the US, Europe, and even China. You can see further and breathe easier with each year that passes. Fine particulate matter pollution has fallen by 41% in the US since 1990s, saving 370,000 lives in a year. Which means around 30,000 people this month are not dropping dead from gross shit in the air. Let's talk about endangered species. So, America's Endangered Species Act turns 50 in 2023. The Center for Biological Diversity says it has saved 291 species so far, and that 80% of species on the endangered list are on the road to recovery. So these are among the species to have officially bounced back from the brink, thanks to biologists. Serving cunt. Last but not least, COVID-19 is on the road to becoming an endemic instead of a pandemic. We're not there yet, but we are on the road. We are making a lot of progress this year. They were expecting a lot more deaths, and for this year, especially the first month of January, to be absolutely horrific. And it wasn't, so good job guys for not spreading the COVID. So, I hope I made you smile, or maybe I didn't, I don't know, I kind of was bubbly, but whatever. So I smiled this whole time, and that's what matters. And Psyduck was still confused the entire time. I don't know if he'll ever get it, but maybe he will, maybe he won't. I don't know. So hopefully you guys got it. So I'll see you guys on my socials. I'll see you guys in the next episode where we probably talk about something bizarre and something graphic, and maybe we'll have a trigger warning, but today we didn't. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Go do something happy in the world so we can make more episodes like this. Thanks!